After the loss of his wife, a man tries to become a respectable father figure to his stepdaughter as she juggles life and college. However, their relationship takes a forbidden turn when she starts to make advances toward him. One evening, Remy works as a pianist at a posh restaurant in Paris. While playing soft, velvety music, he shares the usual occurrences in his workplace, in which he seems to relate to the struggles in his personal life. Later at home, while his wife, Martine, is getting ready to go out, he confides his sorrow over their deteriorating marriage, but she shows no concern. When he mentions that his paycheck is delayed, she confronts him, saying that she needs pocket money to buy clothes, otherwise she'll lose her sparkle. Her husband tells her that such things won't be necessary, as she's no longer being considered for modeling jobs. However, the woman reveals that she's about to meet a photographer to model in lingerie, surprising him. Appalled, he reminds her that she swore that she would never take that type of work. However, she clarifies that due to her age, she can no longer do face modeling. Since he can't stop his wife from her job, he eventually hands her his remaining money. Outside, Martine is about to leave using her husband's car, but it doesn't have enough fuel. For this reason, Remy has no choice but to push it to start the engine. After his first attempt failed, he tries to convince his wife to take the inconvenience as a sign to stay home with him. Nevertheless, she persists, so he tries to push the car once again. Eventually, the engine starts, and the car jolts forward. Saddened by their strained marriage, he returns inside their apartment, muttering that neither he nor the creepy photographers deserves his attractive wife. Not long after, Martine panics when she fails to stop the car as a truck appears in front of her. Unfortunately, she collides with it and passes away immediately. Moments later, Remy learns of the tragedy and quickly rushes to the scene, distressed. On that same day, Remy's stepdaughter, Marion, returns from college and immediately asks about her mother's whereabouts. Anne, afraid to break the depressing news, keeps his composure and lies that her mother is still at work and will probably get home late. The woman notices his strange behavior and asks him if he had an argument with her mother or if he's feeling unwell. He just dismisses her questions, so she simply returns to her room. Once she's out of sight, he sighs in relief and breaks down in grief. After mustering up the courage, he steps into Marion's room and requests a piece of paper. While she does her homework, he writes her a letter containing the truth about Martine. When he finishes writing, he leaves her room, announcing that he'll be going to the grocery store. Before heading out, he places the letter on the table and encourages her to read it. Upon returning from his errand, he sees that his stepdaughter has read his letter. Skeptical, she confronts him that he shouldn't joke about such a matter. Remy then sadly confirms that it's the truth, causing the woman to break down. Ultimately, they collapse in each other's arms. Marion expresses her desire to stay with Remy, rather than be with her birth father. The next evening, the man meets with Marion's alcoholic father, Charlie, at his bar to deliver the news of Martine's passing. Despite their dislike for one another, they discuss who should take guardianship of Marion, with the father insisting he'll take care of her. When the man returns to his place, he finds his stepdaughter waiting for him. She offers him dinner, but he declines, reasoning that he can't manage to eat. Noticing his low spirits, she rests her head on his shoulder and says that she doesn't want to live anywhere else.
Honestly, this shit happens more often than you think, because now she's trying to replace the mother, and the mother was close to this guy. She's trying to be close to him.
He reassures her that he'll take care of her. Then, he leads her to the bedroom, where they sit together in bed, breaking down in tears. The following morning, without Marion's knowledge, her stepfather helps Charlie load his daughter's belongings into the trunk. Back in the apartment, the man asks the father how he plans to care for her. To ensure her well-being, he informs him of Marion's routines and preferences. In the middle of their conversation, Marion comes home. Her stepfather quickly approaches her, urging her to be reasonable. But the woman, realizing the situation, replies coldly that not everyone can be relied on. Charlie tries to embrace her, but she leaves. Before he can follow, Remy stops him and distracts him about her medical record. After Martine's funeral, Remy seems to have completely lost himself. For weeks, he spends his afternoons in Nicholas's store, flipping through newspapers and comic books until closing time. At night, he joins the shopkeeper's family for supper, often brushing off their attempts to cheer him up. Now and then, he voices his frustration about Marion not contacting him after everything he did to raise her. The shopkeeper suggests that his stepdaughter might have believed he abandoned her, and that in time, she'll get over it. To ease his mind, Nicholas takes up his cello, and the melancholic man joins in on the piano.
Child's life, though.
On the way home,
That's the real question.
Remy decides to call his stepdaughter through a telephone booth. Realizing it's him on the other line, she stays silent, still bitter that he sent her to her father. Despite his reasons and his constant pleas for her to speak, he receives no answer.
He's pissed,
Growing
bro.
impatient,
What do you
he
expect?
finally blurts that he misses her before hanging up. The following night at the restaurant, he refuses to play the piano. When the manager
your
confronts
job, bro.
him, he reasons out that playing sad music while feeling sorrowful is too much for him to bear. Due to his delinquency, his manager fires him on the spot. Soon, in his apartment,
That's
he
shitty.
continues to wallow in
Now
his
he has no
sadness
job, no
when,
wife.
Suddenly, Marion arrives, carrying her suitcases and declaring that she is moving back in. She admits that her father doesn't know yet and will surely come after her. Before Remy can object, his stepdaughter embraces him, and he finally gives in to her warmth. Not long after, Charlie quickly visits the apartment to get her. However, the woman firmly refuses, insisting that he can't stop her from running away unless he locks her up. When the stepfather urges him to listen to his daughter's choice, he lashes out, and the two get into a fight. They soon break apart, and Marion tends to their wounds. Moments later, before Charlie leaves, Remy reassures him that he'll take care of his daughter as if she's his own. Back in the kitchen, his stepdaughter decides to prepare him breakfast. While eating, he informs her that he lost his job, so she proposes that she'll babysit to help with their expenses while he can give piano lessons. He agrees with her suggestion, and soon starts teaching piano while Marion juggles college and babysitting every other night. One evening, Remy is worried that his stepdaughter has been coming home late, and her grades are slipping, so he urges her to slow down with her part-time job. After their conversation, he tells her to go to bed, but she hesitates. Worried, Remy encourages her to speak her mind, so she proceeds to lay her head on his chest and confesses her growing attraction toward him.
Oh!
The stunned man tries
Shit, right?
suggesting that she's merely confused. However, she insists that she's been thinking about him constantly. She further clarifies that her failing grades are not because of her part-time job, but it was her thoughts of him that kept her from concentrating. Though uncomfortable,
Wow.
he reasons out that her thoughts and feelings are normal for her age, especially after the recent events in their lives. He adds that he can't be attracted to her because of her age. Hurt, Marion protests that she's already a woman before storming out of the room. During breakfast, the woman brings up the conversation again, claiming that she's certain about her feelings and doesn't care about their age gap. Yet,
That's
the man
insane.
rejects her
But it
advances,
happens more often than
remaining
you think.
firm on his decision to prevent an affair.
This really does
between them.
happen more often than you think.
That evening, Remy returns home after work
Lingerie.
and finds her lying on his bed without clothing. He makes it clear that he has no intentions of sleeping
shit.
with her, yet she remains persistent. The following night, she slips back into his bedroom and settles beside him with a book. She makes her intentions clear, telling the man that she's available for whatever he wants. Tired of her antics, he orders her to go back to her room. When Marion persistently tries to make a move on him, he pushes her away, causing her to feel disheartened.
Now, if this was like, bro, is this a guy doing this? It'd be crazy. The guy would probably end up going to jail. For real. Only chicks can do this shit and get away with it.
Is diagnosed as anemic and is advised to go to the mountains for a change of air. Charlie agrees to the plan and asks Remy to send her by train while he prepares their stay. At the train station, Remy reassures Marion that the trip will help her feel better. Before the train leaves, his stepdaughter pleads with him to kiss her. Unable to deny her, he gives in and kisses her passionately.
Idiot!
before
That's the
parting ways.
mistake.
That evening, after
Idiot.
failing to pay rent, the man loses his apartment and moves in with Nicholas and his family. On Christmas, he receives a call from Marion, who professes her love for him, to which he finally reciprocates. He then turns to Simone, Nicholas's wife, to borrow their car and heads straight to the mountains to meet his stepdaughter. Upon seeing each other, they immediately share a kiss and decide to visit a hotel.
No.
Marion tells him that she needs to leave before her father wakes up and promises to return in the afternoon. Sometime later, she comes back and finds her stepfather sleeping soundly. She slips out of her clothing and gently caresses him until he awakens. Delighted to see her, he pulls her into his arms, and together, they spend the rest of the day making love.
God
Coming
damn.
home later, Martine, confessing that he tried everything to avoid it, but it still happened. He assures her not to worry, saying that he was gentle with her daughter, and she was happy in his company. Overcome with emotion, he asks why she had to leave and seeks guidance for the future with her daughter. As time passes, the
That's
woman returns
crazy.
from her trip, but notices that the man is no longer treating her like a lover. He takes her to a rundown house where he is currently staying. Dismayed that they have separate bedrooms, she confronts him about it, but he brushes it off. While having a meal, He asks her to never speak about their encounter during Christmas,
Wow.
to which she agrees. He further expresses that he can't continue their relationship and encourages her to live a good life, make friends, and date someone her own age. Days after, Remy tries to move forward as well, attempting to
Got
play
a new
the piano
job?
again at a
Okay.
Parisian tea room to make a living. When he returns home, he finds that Marion has invited several of her friends into their house.
Wow.
Bothered, he visits Nicholas and plays the piano to vent his frustration. In no time, he returns to their place and sees that the stepdaughter's visitors had left, except for one stepping out of her bedroom. He considers checking on her, but changes his mind, afraid he doesn't have the right to interfere with her relationships. Just as he's about to leave, she comes out of her room and invites him in. She explains that she only followed his advice to look for his substitute, yet she proceeds to initiate intimacy. The man, however, refuses her advances and proceeds to leave the room angrily. The next day, Nicolas
Wow.
notices that his friend looks unwell, but Remy brushes
He already screwed up though. He slept with her, bro. He messed up in that part. He slept with her. Now she's gonna dream about him and want him. He was probably her first, bro. He done messed up.
it off and requests his friend to stick his ad since he lost his job. Soon, the pianist gets hired to play at a birthday gathering of one of Marion's acquaintances. There, she flirts with others while he watches in silent torment. Midway through the performance, he's interrupted when one of the guests begins blasting music through a speaker, sending the rest of the visitors onto the dance floor. Though he feels disrespected, he lets it go. Feeling like he is no longer needed, he excuses himself early, lying to the celebrant's mother that he has an early recording session the next day. Still, she compliments him for his talent, saying that he has a magic touch. Suddenly, Marion realizes
jealous.
that her stepfather is about to leave, so she approaches him and kisses his cheek. Before leaving, he entrusts Marion's well-being to the celebrant's mother, and she promises to do so. By dawn, the stepdaughter returns home and discovers that Remy is still awake, waiting for her. She explains to him that she couldn't come home early as she lost track of time enjoying the party. To make up for her wrongdoing, she offers to make him coffee. In the living room, Remy initiates intimacy with Marion,
Oh
finally admitting his love for her and his
God!
desire to sleep with her. Since her feelings are reciprocated, she kisses him, leading them to make love. The following
This
morning,
happens more
the couple
often than
wake
you
up
think.
to a surprise visit. Remy commands his stepdaughter to stay in their room before heading downstairs to check who it is.
Dad.
He opens the door only to discover that it's Charlie, who's beaming with excitement to see Marion. Alarmed, the man decides to fabricate a story that his daughter is out eating at a cafeteria and suggests that he can come back again soon. The father agrees, but asks to rest inside for a few minutes, so Remy lets him in, afraid to raise suspicion. Not long after, Marion rushes downstairs to check on the situation, surprising her father, who was not expecting her to still be in the house. He becomes
Yes,
suspicious,
especially after he said he
realizing
wasn't
that they
there.
both look freshly woken. The pair quickly comes up with a lie, saying that she has no classes that day because her French teacher is sick, eventually convincing him. The father then proposes that the three of them should live together and promises to give up drinking. Remy agrees with it, but Marion cannot help but show her uneasiness
No.
toward it.
Because
knowing
she's
that
not gonna
it
get
will
away
make
with
their
anything.
relationship more complicated.
That's it.
Before long,
Won't
the
do
father
anything.
decides to leave to get some rest, and as soon as he closes the door, the secret couple embraces. Unbeknownst to them, the father lingers outside,
Oh!
watching them through the window. Surprised, he returns and confronts them about their possible affair, to which the stepfather snaps back with a sharp denial. With his response, Charlie apologizes and blames his suspicions on the alcohol. When he finally leaves,
But he's
Remy
right.
confides to the woman that he's scared for their relationship, getting the feeling that someone is following them. One night, Marion rushes home and wakes her stepfather, asking him for help because the child she was babysitting is sick. Together, they race to the house and quickly call a physician. Just then, the mother, Charlotte, returns to find that her child, Natalie, has caught the flu. The doctor hands Remy the prescription. However, he realizes that he doesn't have enough money, so he goes to Simone to borrow some. When he comes back, Charlotte expresses her gratitude for helping them. The man becomes interested in her, to which his stepdaughter immediately notices. On the way home, Marion questions him about his feelings.
That's not
toward
good.
Marion. Out of jealousy, she bitterly supposes that he will probably visit her again to check on Natalie, just like the stepfather that he is. Just like Marion's prediction, Remy returns to the woman's house and discovers that she is also a pianist. Her
Wow.
performance captivates him, prompting him to wait until she's finished. Shortly after, Charlotte hears a knock on her door, so she heads to the door to
That's gonna be
entertain
new
the
girl.
guest. To her surprise, she finds Remy, who expresses his desire to check on her child. He adds that he intended to return her umbrella,
He wants to be another stepdaddy.
which makes her laugh. He then prepares to head home to not disturb her from practicing, but she stops him and invites him over for a cup of tea. Inside, the two get to know each other and discover that they share interests. Sometime later, in his house,
Waiting.
the man embraces Marion, expressing his love for her. After they make love, she voices her jealousy towards Charlotte.
God did. God has learned.
What he sees in her.
That pool must be sweet, bro. It has to be sweet for my guy to keep going back. I can imagine.
He answers that she makes him feel sheltered, further hurting Marion. With tears in her eyes, she then reveals that she hopes for the day that she becomes an acceptable woman for him, so that he will no longer feel ashamed of her. She even dreams of bearing his child, so that he no longer has to raise another man's. Yet, her hopes crumble when he decides to pursue the other woman. The next day, after watching Charlotte's performance, the man tells his stepdaughter that he plans to quit music and asks her never to reveal his past as an unsuccessful pianist. Though she agrees, she urges him to promise never to cut her out of his life, claiming she can't live without him. While Remy and Charlotte...
Oh, that's the crazy part.
The broken-hearted stepdaughter turns to Charlie and informs him that she is moving back in with him. That night, Remy returns to his house, only to find that Marion has already left. Disheartened for losing his stepdaughter, he goes to Charlotte's apartment, and they spend time together, not knowing that Natalie was watching them.
Subscribe to watch.
What? That was a fire one too, bro. That was fire, bro. These movies are... I like this one. It's about an oldie, bro, but definitely check this one out. Subscribe, all that good stuff, right? Bye.